Here are pictures from our 2011 Sequoia National Park trip that we took late April. The first thing you see as you go into the park is Tunnel Rock. And I didn't know I could do this, but you could actually climb up to the top of Tunnel Rock. So here I am at the top, and then here's a closer view of me. It's kind of scared up there. I'm not too good with heights, especially when I know there's a steep drop on the other side, but made it okay. As we were driving down the highway, we saw this deer. Took a picture of that. As you're going down General's Highway, the first trees you come up to really are these two trees, one on each side, and so it's a popular picture-taking moment when you first see the big trees. And then here's a big tree here. Even though we're there in late April, there was quite a bit of snow, as you can see there. And here they've plowed some of the snow. They only do that on General's Highway itself. The other roads they don't plow, so you can't drive those. You have to walk them in snowshoes. But this is the pile of snow there. And another picture of that. And then here is some dirty snow with a couple of sequoias there. And then here's a couple more sequoias, and you can see all the snow on the mountain and all the other trees there. And another big sequoia there by the road. And then here's another one. Now, lots of big sequoias up there. That's why we went, to see the sequoias. And it was great to see the snow too. It just made it a different view. I've never seen the sequoias with the snow, so it made it prettier, I thought. And then here you've got a green moss tree on the left of this big sequoia. And then here's another picture of a big sequoia tree. And then here's four big sequoias there, right there by the snow there. And then here's a little tree, and then you can see some sequoias in the background, and of course the snow. And then here's one where lightning struck it, going up maybe a good 25 feet, maybe even higher. You can see they're in the middle of the tree, but these sequoias just keep living even though they get struck by lightning. It's just the outer of the trunk that gets hit and damaged, but they keep growing. And then here's another big tree here, and you can see a close-up here of the trunk of that tree. Here's a couple big sequoias together. Thought I'd take a picture of that. And then here's a lot of trees with this green moss on it. A little different there, different view there in the sequoias. And then here's just a view that we saw going down General's Highway. And when we go to General Sherman Tree, they have a place for us to park, a visitor center, which you can see on the right there, that chain link fence. And then this is some of the ice that was there at the visitor center. And here's a closer up view of it, and then even closer up view on this one. And then here's the visitor center. You can see the snow, and it just sort of went over, and they've shoveled out or blown out the snow under there and created this snow archway. And here's a closer up view of it, the roof, and then the snow there, the ice going over onto the snow on the ground. And I believe this is General Sherman Tree. You can see where there's some lightning that struck it on the right side, but it's still growing. It's the world's largest living thing. These sequoias have trunks that are probably 2 or 3 times the size of a redwood tree. So even though they don't grow as tall, they're, as far as mass is concerned, they're the largest living thing. And General Sherman is the largest of them all that they've seen anyway. Here's what we call the Trinity Tree. It's 3 in 1. And then here's looking up at a tree. This is the General Sherman looking up at it. It's about 280 feet tall. The tallest redwood's about 380 feet. Here's the trunk of the General Sherman. And then this is the side of it where you can see the lightning that damaged the General Sherman tree. And then here's just a different view with the sun there on the left side. And then contrast it with the next photo, the same tree, but it's without the sun. You can see it's real dark there. This was taken within seconds of each other, but it's just where the sun is makes a big difference. And then here's a neat little view of darkness, but then the sky and the trees as well. Here's Lonna and me at the General Sherman Tree there. And then here's a different tree. We call it the Knotty Tree, big knot there. And then here's looking at it right on the front there of the knot. And then here's just another sequoia tree. And then here's one where you could see a lot of lightning damage there as far as width and height there, but then there's a little tree in front of it there. contrast there. And then here is the General Sherman area walking through there, and you can see the water that's flowing down there, and a little creek there, and also some snow that hasn't melted yet. And again, here's another shot of the creek running through there. Here's looking up at a tree, real close up here, looking up toward the top. And then here's the General Sherman tree from a distance, just a different perspective of it. And again, close up to another tree here with the damage, lightning damage. And then they had a tree there that they had sawed through that is already dead on the ground that you could walk through. So here I am ready for action after having survived walking through this tree. And then here's back at the visitor center after looking through the General Sherman tree area, and this is a view of that ice again, and then another view of that, the snow there and the ice. Here's an area of Beetle Rock that didn't have as much snow, and there was Lonna walking down there, Beetle Rock, and again a view of her. You could see a little snow, but not much out there. It was on a different side of the road, and so the snow had mostly melted over there. This is a view. You can see the bar there, the guardrail at the bottom. We're on the highway, just taking a picture of one of the mountains on the side there. And then this, I don't know if it's Beetle Rock or it could just be a dome, but that's a view of that. And again, as we're driving, another view of that. And then we saw a guy stopped on the highway, and he pointed out there that he said there was a bear over there, so it was just a couple feet from the passenger side. I was able to take these photos of it. It was eating grass there. It was more like a teenager, wasn't an adult yet, and it really wasn't paying any attention to us. So we got a couple of pictures here real close up. I did not zoom in at all on these bear pictures. This is what I saw with my eye. So very good close-up view from the safety of the car, I should say. Here's a view from a parking lot of this neat little rock, and here's a close-up of it. Shouldn't call it little, I guess. It's pretty massive, as you can tell. Here's undercover Lonna going on her secret spy mission for some investigative reporting. Here's a lizard that we saw. The male lizard has the blue color on its belly here, and it does push-ups to try to attract the female. And here's a close-up view of that blue belly on the lizard there, as it's on there on the rock, getting up high so the females can see that it's all that and then some. And then here's what's called Hospital Rock there in the Sequoias, where they have some Native American hieroglyphics that's written on the rock there. Purple's my favorite color. There are a lot of purple trees below the snow line. I've got a couple of pictures of those. Then here's just a view going down the highway of this mountain. Here's a closer up view of it with the snow on top of it. And then here's the same view of that highway going back out of the park now instead of coming in, where you have those two sequoia trees where you drive through. You can see a truck on the left side there driving up, and then we're driving back down. And then here's a double tree, 2 into 1. And then here's, looks like another Trinity tree there, 3 into 1. And then here's just a view as we're going down the highway, coming back down out of the park, of the trees. And another view there of the snow-covered mountain. And then here's, as you go down lower, you don't have as many trees, you have more rocks. So this is a picture of a tree, and you can see a lot of rocks there in the background, but still a lot of trees around there, still within the park. This is the General Grant area now, a different area of the Sequoia Park, and a couple of the big trees there. General Grant and General Sherman are the two largest trees in the Sequoia Park. This is a fence that they have around General Grant, and one of the branches broke off and just completely destroyed the fence there, so you wouldn't want to be there when that happens. And this is a picture of the General Grant tree. And here's, you can see on the right there, a burned down tree, almost completely burned down to the ground, which is in contrast to the big sequoia that's to the left of it there. And here's Lonna in front of the General Grant tree. That was the second largest sequoia in the park. And here I am in front of the General Grant tree, saluting him. He didn't seem to acknowledge my salute, but you know, that's okay. He's, you know, bigger and stronger than me, so I didn't argue with him. And you can see here another tree, the huge lightning damage here, the width and the height of that, but it's still growing and still looking good, still growing strong. There was a tree that you could walk through, a fallen tree. You could walk the entire length, at least 100, 200 feet there. and there was some mold inside of it, so I took a picture of that, the white and green mold. Here are 4 big sequoias, and of course a couple other sequoias around there all together. And then the final picture is what we call eagle rock. As you can see there in the middle, it looks like an eye of an eagle there. It makes it look like an eagle. So those are our photos, and hope you enjoyed viewing them.